Let's jump to this story from the Daily Mail. Multi-million-dollar fund manager ditches Tyson Foods, saying meat giant sacking U.S. workers to hire 42,000 asylum seekers is the woke liberal takeover of America. A $79 million conservative ETF has divested from Tyson Foods. Now, here's the thing. They didn't come out and they say, get woke, go broke, haha, we're going to divest because we're conservative. They said, we saw what happened with Bud Light and we saw what happened with Target, and we are protecting our shareholders by divesting from Tyson Foods. Tyson Foods says, we want to hire asylum seekers, especially those who have recently come in. What they're saying is, as they shut down a plant, I believe it's in Iowa, and lay off 1,300 people, they want to hire criminal aliens when Democrats give them work permits. So now there is a massive call to boycott all Tyson Foods and give them the Bud Light treatment. And I'm all for it. If that's what you guys are going to do. Any company that says don't hire American is a company you don't want to buy from. And if you're looking for chicken, you can go to publicsquare.com and see what chicken providers there are.
I don't think I've even I haven't bought Tyson food because I feel like it's like, I don't know,
gross.
I haven't bought Tyson food in forever.
Look,
you guys,
you go to the supermarket and the Tyson bag is like processed chicken covered in processed garbage with processed preservatives. And there's fresh chicken breast right there from, you can just get the chicken breast and bread it yourself.
I'm a snob at the grocery store.
You guys, my Lyft driver today brought this up, actually.
Really?
And he was livid. And he was the one that brought it up, right? He started talking about this with me. And whenever a story like this is reaching the general public, that's when people are really getting over it, and they're definitely staying informed with what is going on. They see this kind of America last energy under this regime.
And the prices of the chicken.
Exactly. And people are so tired of it. He told me all about it before I even saw this story or even looked into it. He was talking to me about it. That was my Lyft driver today.
$12 to $15 for a pack of chicken right now, for a pound of chicken. And then you're going to not hire the American people that are trying to buy your chicken? I hate these people.
It's a parasitic machine. It's sucking away the ownership, the buying power, and the wealth of the American population, siphoning it off to non-citizens to strip from you. Just to pause and go back to the squatter story. What is the point of allowing squatters to do what they do? This woman inherited property from her parents who earned, saved, bought, and gave their daughter and their granddaughter some wealth left behind for them. And the state is trying to make sure you will own nothing.
I'd find a way to come back from the grave and haunt those people if they took anything from my kids. I would be outraged.
Right.
Yeah.
But this is a part of the shift. This is a part of the shift of the left ditching the working class, and it's reaching the masses. People are seeing this. They're no longer that party, if they ever were, of the lower. I mean, maybe at the very bottom, they're definitely appealing to maybe some of those people. The working class, absolutely not. Not anymore.
I think that they're seeing that Biden and this administration is a problem. But my brother, he's a conservative, but his friends are liberal, and he's in a group chat, and they're in this group chat saying, RFK and Aaron Rodgers, that's the only way. And I'm
Clown shoes.
I was like, God, these are just regular guys that go to the gym and they live their life.
Those are people not willing to make the jump. They're not willing to make the jump yet. Maybe they will eventually if they keep seeing how America lasts the Democratic Party actually is. But those people aren't making the jump yet. There's a lot of people that are apolitical that don't like this
Orange
stuff.
Man bad. Orange Man bad is still a real thing.
Orange Man indeed bad.
President Cheeto is bad, and people still believe that.
I spent the past 2 weeks in Los Angeles hanging out with a bunch of people that are not politically active and stuff, and there is an exhaustion that they have with Biden. They are pissed because they wanted things to go back to normal. And I mean, listen, I told them, I've been telling people.
You remember that song, Hate to Say I Told You So?
Yes. I've been telling them it's never coming back. And of course,
happened to the return to normalcy?
Because I'm an outside of the normal political perspective guy, they don't, they're like, Phil, whatever. But I'm like, look, it is never going to be normal again because Donald Trump is not the reason it is not normal. Right. Donald Trump is a symptom. He is not a cause.
Yep.
What these people are failing to realize is that Biden is like a shell of a human. So who's actually running it? It's still Democrats.
They don't care.
But
that doesn't matter
that's the point. Them. They still want to vote Democrat, right?
But
they're going to say it's Biden is
the reason is because they want They want back to normal, and they're not ever going to believe that it won't come back.
But Biden is the cause of it.
I know.
But it's Democrats.
That's what I'm talking about. The Democrat and the uniparty establishment are the cause of Donald Trump. If you were to get rid, let's say you ended up with a Ron Paul type, maybe even a Tulsi Gabbard. She's not as Ron Paul-y, but let's say you brought in someone who actually said, okay, let me try and listen to the American people and do something about these problems this country is facing. Maybe no more foreign wars. Actually get in touch with the working class. Donald Trump would not be necessary. The problem is when people were like, you know what, I kind of like this Bernie Sanders guy. Bernie Sanders was saying no open borders. He was saying support the unions. He was saying no to NAFTA. And then the Democrats said no. And so Donald Trump was like, vote for me and I'll kick in the door. And they're like, done. Done. Trump, you're my guy.
The craziest thing, Phil, is that you're having friends that are talking to you about how they're sick and tired of what's going on. That blows my mind when they have the entire media machine on their side. Every single
why
issue,
they're sick and tired. They don't realize that the media that's feeding them stuff is that's the
dealer.
poison. That's they're being fed garbage. Yeah. And they think that it's true, but they're being fed like the whole bloodbath thing. Like that is why.
They're still having a problem with Trump?
No, like the point is they listen to they listen to the media telling them how terrible Trump is and how bad Trump is. They're hoping that it will go back to normal. But the thing is, even if it's not Donald Trump, if it was DeSantis or whoever, they would be saying the same things about him. The normal is gone.
100%.
The normal from the left is nothing but hyperbole, nothing but catastrophe, nothing but if we don't win, it is the end. And that is all that is ever going to be, because they have lost the pretense of even talking about policy. It's all Donald Trump is evil. It's all they're going to go and put you in chains. It's all that same terrify the crap out of them.
Right. I thought you were talking about that they're tired of Joe Biden.
Yeah, so
they're tired of Joe Biden because Joe Biden was supposed to do things. Well, Joe Biden was supposed to do things to make it better.
But this is my point.
So my point was they're getting tired of Biden, and Biden has the media machine on his side. That shows you how bad it actually is.
But even worse
that was
than
my
that,
point.
Even worse than that, they're not attributing. Biden is just like a figurehead because he's clearly not there. So they're still going to vote Democrat, even if they're tired of Biden. They're not getting that it's not him making the decisions, and they're still going to vote Democrat. And that deep state of theirs, which by the way, they are acknowledging that there is a deep state. Did you see that article that came out? I think it was today. That was like, oh, there is a deep state, and it's cool, right? Like, so, but they don't. But they're not even paying attention to it. So you're hating all these policies. You're attributing it to somebody who's not even senile. He's not even there. So it's the Democrat machine that you hate. Why are you going to vote for that again? Why do they think
the orange man is bad, Lisa?
I just
That's
can't
exactly
imagine.
why.
He's Cheeto color, Lisa. He's Cheeto color.
Here's the article. It turns out the deep state is actually kind of awesome from the New York Times.
It didn't exist, and now it's great. Same old story. Didn't exist, and now it's great.
Unelected bureaucrats who are directing your life and telling you your thoughts don't matter are great. That's what they say. That's the New York Times. Remember when the New York Times said, actually, critical thinking is a bad thing?
Yeah.
Every right-wing person that says this is happening, they say, no, it's not happening. That's a conspiracy theory. And then later, it is happening and it's wonderful.
We have to manipulate democracy or else we're going to lose democracy. Everything is insane now.
Jimmy Dore has one of the best comedy bits on that whole narrative of don't do your own research. Critical thinking is bad. He was like, we used to call it reading. Yeah. Imagine the person coming out and he's like, I feel like I'm waking up in a Bill Hicks bit where he's like, looks like we got ourselves a reader. What you reading for, boy? And then he's like, imagine any other subject where they said, don't research. And you go to your friend, you go, I think I'm about buying a car. Don't look into it. And then he says, this is all Jimmy Dore. It's brilliant. He goes, what? Well, how am I know which car to buy? Ask the salesman. He's the expert. That's the narrative they were giving us in the media.
It literally is.
That's right.
Ask the salesman. I'm like, the absurdity is right there in your face. And everybody knows the auto dealer is going to crank the price up and sell you things you don't need.
No, Democrats are in like the funniest position, right? Because they're being sold like, they're the democracy protectors, TM. They're also fighting against fascism. And it's like, yeah, in order to fight against fascism, listen, we have to censor, we have to take away your guns, we have to do all these things, but that's just all to stop fascism. So just trust us on this.
Ketanji Brown was basically saying that in the Supreme Court hearing yesterday.
I can barely discuss that woman.
Yeah.
Okay, real quick.
Go ahead.
She would. So you've got this Missouri Supreme Court arguments that are happening about social media The federal government was going to social media and saying, hey, look at this post. It should be taken down. Why wasn't this taken down? And the argument from the government is that's not pressure. That's suggestion of their own moderation policies. Ketanji Brown in the Supreme Court says, I feel like the First Amendment is what was
she goes, so you're saying that the First Amendment is hamstringing the.
She says, I feel like the First Amendment is hamstringing the government here.
He was trying to say that was his argument. And he's like, well, yeah, that's what it's supposed to do.
She needs to be removed from her seat. It is an abomination that she is allowed to be on the court. She refused to acknowledge that she can make a distinction between a man and a woman. She was lying. Everyone knows she was lying. There is no the every day that she sits on that court is a day that the court is it loses credibility. It is ridiculous.
That's the point.
And they allow her to talk more than anyone else.
I want to point out one thing. Every single Supreme Court justice that the Democrats are going to, put in a seat from now on will act and behave exactly like that woman.
Absolutely.
They have absolutely no intention of, putting someone forward that actually understands the Constitution and can properly interpret it.
No, they're putting people on that will intentionally and bold-faced lie.
Right.
I mean, that's what she was doing. She was basically saying that the government has the responsibility. The government's responsibility is to protect our rights, right? She was like, no, we need it here so that we can protect you. But what the whole crazy part is she was like, well, we want to stop misinformation or whatever. But they were the ones that were lying. They were the ones that were lying, and you were suppressing what was really true.
One of my favorite arguments from the government Solicitor General was that if the government is doing good, then you're allowed to violate the Constitution.
Right.
That's literally what their argument was. But we think we're doing good things, so it should be allowed. It's
Right. Right.
It's infuriating to hear people talk like that because the concept of the Constitution is supposed to be like the Constitution gives the government the powers that it has, and if it's not in there, then the government doesn't have that power. And there's even a whole list of 10 things specifically the government ain't allowed to touch, and yet all it does is violate the whole Bill of Rights.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.